Saints post-game show. After a win here in Philadelphia, the Saints pull the upset 20-10 over the Eagles. Just heard a bunch of cheering from the Saints locker room. Very excited, and it was cornerback Marshawn Lattimore that sealed the deal in his first game back. 10 games he's been out since week 5. Comes back with a big pick 6 at the end of the game, giving the Saints that 20-10 final score. It was a tough second half as it looked like the Eagles were doing everything that they could to get into the end zone, but the Saints defense comes up big in the end. In the first half of play, the Saints offense started things off very well. In the opening drive, they go on the longest scoring drive they've had for the entire season, 15 plays, 8 minutes, 58 seconds off of the clock there. It was a great start to the game. Andy Dalton goes 5 of 5 through the air. Chris Olave, who makes his return for this game, he was 3 of 3 for 31 yards on that drive, and it ended in an eventual Taysom Hill touchdown. So good to go up 7-0 there to start things off, and the Saints kind of just kept rolling from there offensively. They were moving the ball well, and defensively they delivered 4 straight 3-and-outs against the Eagles. The league's leading offense, 30 points per game, held to just 10 points today, and over 400 yards, total yards of offense over the last 5 games. So the Saints defense definitely delivered in this one. They had 5 sacks in the first half of play, which was the most sacks the Saints have had in the first half of the game since 2001. In Week 12 against Carolina, they had 5 sacks in that game. So they did really well today, and Cam Jordan was a big part of that. He had 3 sacks on the day for a total of 115.5 for his career now for the Saints. And he is now the all-time leading sack leader for the Saints. He passed Ricky Jackson, who was sitting at 115. So big numbers, big games by a lot of players out there today. It was good to see Cam Jordan finally get that record. We knew it was coming at some point, and it was good to see it today. Things changed a little bit after the first half of play as we saw another injury to the offensive line. The Saints coming into this one were without guard Andres Pete and guard Cesar Ruiz, both of their starting guards out in this one. So they had Calvin Throckmorton that stepped in, as well as Josh Andrews, who's brought up from the practice squad. And then tackle Ryan Ramczyk went down in the second quarter of play with a hip injury. He was listed as questionable for quite some time during the game, and then he was downgraded to out towards the end of the game. And so it was Landon Young who stepped up in his place. It was definitely a struggle there for the offensive line to hold throughout the game. A couple sacks. Dalton was on the ground for a couple times, but they were able to come back and kind of hold things in the end, much thanks to the defense. A couple really good plays, though, from Dalton. He connected with Rashid Shaheed for 58 yards. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about that rookie. Rashid Shaheed has stepped up in a big way throughout this season. He's been a lot of fun to watch. And I know coming into this one, we talked about the playoff implications. There were a lot of them for both sides. The Saints had to win to stay alive, which they did. And we were waiting on the outcome of the Tampa Bay Panthers game, which I do believe is now over. And Tampa Bay won that game, but it doesn't mean the Saints are officially out yet. There is a couple other scenarios that had to take place for them to be eliminated. One was them losing here in Philadelphia, which they did not do. Then also the Tampa Bay win over Carolina. They also needed a Washington win over Cleveland, which did not happen as the Commanders lost. Or, and this is where we're at now, Tampa Bay had to win. Detroit had to win, which they did against Chicago, or they're going to because they were up by so much. And then also needed a Green Bay win over Minnesota. So we're sitting here waiting now for the outcome of that Green Bay Packers game against the Vikings. That game was a 4 o'clock start East Coast time. So maybe sometime while we're in the air, we'll be able to figure out if the Saints have actually been eliminated or not. But since the bye week, they have played extremely well and have now won 3 straight games, 2 straight after that Cleveland game, which was the first time the Saints have strung together back-to-back wins this season. Now they've had 3 straight. And the defense, again, it's been their 5th straight game where they have held a team under 20 points, averaging just 14.5 coming into this one. So under that average, holding the Eagles to just 10. We are waiting for head coach Dennis Allen and players to come into the press room here. I can still hear music in the locker room. I'm sure the Saints are very excited with the win. I know there was a lot riding on this for a lot of them as well. So it was good to see that they were able to pull out the win in a big game from Marshawn Lattimore. Going to pull up some of the stats so we can go through some of those. And just kidding, Dennis Allen is going to be out here. Head coach coming up to the podium.
All right, look, hell of a win for our team. All here against an outstanding football team that we played against today, and be able to come out of here with a win. I think that, look, I've been saying this the last few weeks. You know, we got a gritty, tough group, and there's a lot of fight in those guys in that locker room, and they continue to do that. So, really proud of our team, players, coaches, everybody.
Coach, the offense in that first quarter, especially you guys in control and how a lot of things don't work really well. What was the key in terms of being able to take the advantage with the offense a little bit ahead?
Well, I think we executed. You know, look, I think there's a lot of talk about Taysom. I think we got Taysom involved early. I think we got Taysom involved late. He was a big part of what we did in terms of helping us win this game. You know, I thought we threw the ball pretty well early in the game. You know, when we were good on third down early in the game. Look, it became more and more difficult as the game went on. You know, you're down basically what amounts to 3 starting offensive linemen against that defensive front. It's a tough deal to do. But I told the guys in there, man, just the way that they finished this thing out, pounding the football there at the end was really impressive to see, especially being down 3 offensive linemen.
Marshawn's back, didn't show any rust. How big was that punt?
That was huge. Yeah, huge. Man, he did a great job. I think the DB coaches, you know, made a couple adjustments over there on the sideline. Little play that, you know, we kind of anticipated we might get, and Lat did a great job of jumping the route and finishing it. You know, that's the other part about it. You know, we've had some opportunities throughout the season, and we haven't quite finished like we need to. And yeah, he finished the play. It was huge.
First drive of the game, you went for one at 4th down. Would you like to play call there, just like to kind of feel the game?
Look, we knew that this was going to be a game that it was going to be hard for us to win the game kicking field goals down there. And so we knew we were going to have to be aggressive in certain areas, and that was an opportunity that we felt like we could be aggressive. Look, the next time we were down there, you know, I thought about going for it again, you know, on 4th down. But we took the points there to you know, make it a 2-touchdown game, and felt like at that time that was the right decision.
As Cam set the franchise sacks record today, and you've been here for most of his career, what does it mean for you just to see?
Does that mean I'm a big part of it? Cam won't let me take credit for it, but I'm going to take a little credit. No, that's awesome. It's awesome. You know, Cam's been a great ambassador for our organization, for the entire National Football League. He's been a great player, and probably an even better person. And so I couldn't be happier for a guy, and it's an awesome accomplishment.
What have you just learned about the team maybe the last 3, 4, 5 weeks? Things started to, you know, get on a little bit of a roll here. Like what have you found out about this week during that stretch?
Well, I don't know that there's something that I found out about him. I think I already knew. Like, I've been saying this. I think we have a tough, gritty group of guys. And, you know, I know that, you know, we haven't won as many games as we would have liked. But, you know, when you look at all the things that this team's been through this year, and to continue to fight and scratch and claw, and we've been in every single game, and we found a way to, you know, close them out in the last 3 weeks. So that's been good to see. I mean, that's the type of team that I think we can be.
And just kind of being able to fight through the adversity and then stay in and win these 2 games. You know, some other teams in this situation might fold. Like, what does that just do for like the culture and identity, just overall for the program you're trying to build?
I just think it shows that, you know, we're on the right track. And we're not there yet. but we're on the right track and we're moving in the right direction. And you know, to have success, it starts with the people that are in your building, and I think we've got a lot of the right people in our building.
To be able to say that you go into the final of the season still with a fighting chance. I've been at a game here where that happened, where you tend to win and then an inside straight has to happen. What's it mean for your team to be able to say, yeah, we still got a shot or very well, and go for it?
Yeah, look, we're still playing for something. You know, I haven't paid much attention to it, so I don't even know what happened today. But I think our focus really has been just take care of our business. And we set out, you know, 3 weeks ago that we wanted to try to go 4-0, and that's all that we could really, you know, control. And so we've been able to get 3 of them, and we got another, you know, tough opponent next week, and we'll be excited about going home and playing those guys.
And it's not that he's back on the field. How tough was it to just navigate what Marshawn was dealing with, and not really knowing exactly what he
Well, look, I mean, yeah, Marshawn's not the best communicator in the world either. I know you guys have tried to talk to him before. So, yeah, look, I mean, it's been a challenge, you know, but I also know that, you know, man, I've been with Marshawn here since 2017, and he's battled through things before. I mean, look, last year he, you know, broke a thumb, you know, in the first game of the season and had surgery, and I think he missed a week and was back right after that, you know. So, look, it's just good to have him back. Thought he played well today, and excited that he's, you know, back in the fold.
What goes into the decision to play Debo center one? I know you guys like a lot of what Alontae's been doing.
Yeah, well, look, we like a lot of what Alontae's been doing. We like a lot about what Paulson Adebo's been doing. We like a lot about what Marshawn Lattimore brings. You know, these are good problems to have. And so, look, we felt like that was the game plan going in. And, you know, I feel like we played pretty well defensively today, so I feel like that kind of worked in our favor today.
Was the decision not to bring Trevor in once Ryan went out, is that just based on his
Yeah, look, I mean, we've been repping Trevor at, you know, the jumbo tight end, you know, for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And you know, I don't know that it's fair to have him repping in one spot, repping in one spot, repping in one spot, and then all of a sudden we're just going to throw him out, you know. And there could have been a lot of shuffling of the deck that could have potentially been involved in a move like that. So we felt like, you know, 1-for-1, plug and play, feel good about Landon Young. Look, we'll see where we're at next week. We'll see what the plan will be next week. We'll talk about that. But we felt like in this game, that was the right thing to do.
And just, Anthony, I know you kind of referenced it earlier, but with that front in particular, man, came in with 60 sacks today, down 3 offensive linemen. How tough is that to get moving the ball?
Challenge, you know. Look, I thought, I really felt like, you know, really after Ram went down, even the first half, I thought we did a pretty good job. You know, it became a little bit more difficult, you know, later in the game. You know, I feel like those guys, you know, overall with what they were faced with, I think overall they did a pretty decent job. You know, I think Andy would tell you there's probably a couple that he might have been able to step up in the pocket and you know, maybe avoid one of them. But look, it was. You know, it was big for those guys to be able to step up and at least give us a chance, you know, and that was good to see. Figured once he walked in, y'all would be done with me. All right, appreciate it.
He just didn't want to say anything.
Jason, Andy, Marshawn, Campbell, your locker room's open, just ask them, who's that for? No. Take it away.
Jason, you had the offensive advantage early that first quarter. These guys came out. Was the club where you guys kind of took control early and had to go on a first down, well, third down conversion. This is what I think you're going for the offense. Team.
How things were going, you're asking? Yeah, I mean, I felt like everything was clicking, right? First and second down was really good, so we got us in third and manageable situations and had some really big third down conversions. But we ran the ball really well in that opening drive, and man, if you can run the ball well, it sets everything up. we kind of saw that early in that game.
Fourth down call early in that game, right?
Mhm.
I believe, you kind of see that play, and you like the idea of being aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. Fourth and short there, and we talk about this gaining numbers, with me in a quarterback, and that was just one of those design runs where let's get heavy personnel, and we got enough faith and trust in our guys to get us a surge and get us 1 yard.
Tough season, you guys have won 3 in a row. What does it say about this team finishing strong?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reflection of our leadership, from the top down. I think if you see some of your leaders, coaches, or players that aren't giving, what you expect or what you're used to seeing, I think that can trickle. But I think it's been the exact opposite. I think you've seen guys, put more into it and say, hey, the expectation is that we're going to go and put our best foot forward, do everything we can to win every game, and we've seen that. And it's nice to come out and have some momentum, have some confidence, looking to the future.
We talked a couple times this season about having trouble finishing games at times, and today you take over with maybe 4 minutes left, and you're able to just kind of run out the clock and satisfied with that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I got a lot of respect for that defense, that front seven, but I think that goes to show you how well our guys played up front too. It's a tough situation to line up and run the ball when it's going to be run, and be able to reel off a few first downs and to get on a knee. So, man, that does a lot for a team offensive, especially up front, their confidence.
Is closing out games something that like the team has to learn how to do throughout the season? Like early in the season, you guys weren't, now you are. Like, what's the difference between then and now? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question. I don't know. Just it's hard to give you a really insightful answer just off the top of my head. But I think early in the year we've had a lot of turnover here the last few years, and I think you're trying to figure out what is this team's identity going to be. And as you get to the end of the season, you start to see who we are and what we're going to do. And again, I think it's a reflection of really good leaders in the building. And guys stepping up and making plays when they've had the opportunity to finish games.
What do you think that identity is? If you had to just describe it, like what would it be?
I mean, I think it's kind of a whatever it takes. I was joking with Jawan. Jawan for 3-4 plays in a row was coming across the line of scrimmage and having to kick out, defensive end that knows it's coming, and it's that mentality that. Hey, I'm coming, but we're still gonna, be successful here. And I think everybody has accepted their role and embraced it, and you see a positive result when that happens.
And for you to see sorry, we're all watching.
Yeah, I was wondering. I thought Andy was trying to make fun of me back there, and he's really looking at the game.
You look good up there.
Thanks.
For you to see, I mean, Cam breaking the franchise sacks record today, like how cool is that?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. He's been a teammate for 6 years. He's a guy that, I really respect. He's a great locker room guy. He's a great leader. And, we talked about the identity of this team and figuring out who we are. And he's one of those guys that's right in the middle of all of it. So to see him have the success that he has had and to see him break the record is pretty cool. Oh, good. Thanks, guys.
1 second, guys. We got to watch.
Nobody.
Yeah, I think if you just look at our season, we've had games similar to the last couple, but we haven't been able to finish them. And the last several games we've been able to find ways to win. And I think it's one thing when you look at our season, look back at several games, and say, man, if we would have done one or two more things, then the record could look a lot different.
First drive of the game, 15 plays, almost 9 minutes. You converted. You third down, then you got a fourth down conversion. Just set the tone. Like, how big was that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what we did. I think we set the tone early on of what we were going to be today. And, there's the ebbs and flows of the game, which is natural of how this thing goes. But for us to start fast that way, have a long drive, end in a touchdown, I mean, that's exactly how you want to start.
Cam got the sack record. How glad are you to be on his team as opposed to being scared about getting sacked by him?
I've followed Cam for a long time, just being in the same draft class. And so, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he set the record. I mean, it's such an unbelievable achievement for a guy that does things the right way and is a great player. So, yes, I'm definitely thankful that I'm on the same team as him.
Has he brought it up yet in the locker room?
Well, we knew. He got a game ball at the end. He set the record, as he should. So, yeah, I think he's feeling pretty good today.
Offensively, you guys came out so efficient, making third down conversions, fourth down conversions in that first quarter, first half. Just about the way your offense played early as a team for you guys.
We were in a great rhythm, and I think that's one thing. It felt like we were getting in and out of the huddle. Guys were making plays. We were efficient in what we were doing, and I mean that allowed to have that long drive. I mean, you're converting on third down, fourth down, whatever it took, and I like that we were aggressive, going for it, and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, that's how you want to start the game.
Good to have Marshawn back there.
I think everybody's happy Marshawn was back out there.
How did the line adjust with 3 starters originally out and injured, and then Ryan was getting hurt?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a testament to those guys, our group that we have. We have a ton of guys that just step up whenever their number's called. I mean, I think it goes from Doug and Zach getting those guys ready to go each week, and I don't think we missed a beat out there.
Does that reassure you behind them that they have that next man up mentality?
For sure. I've got a ton of confidence and faith in those guys, and I mean they've proven it each week, and so ton of confidence in everybody.
When you look back at this run you guys have had, when you finish this, and you have one more throw still, you guys have just put this string together for games. How proud you are for this team and your teammates to do what they've done?
Yeah, there's no quit in this team, and I think that shows a lot. I think when you look at how you finish the season, there's a lot to say for that, and there's a lot that you can carry over, and you want to be playing your best football at the end of the year, and I feel like we're doing that.
Anything else for Andy?
Thanks, guys. Go Frogs.
Oh yeah, how was it back being watching it?
I was going crazy.
We'll have Marshawn and Cam in just a second, but
Hey, good to be back.
Can you just kind of kind of tough thing you've been dealing with the last 10, 11 weeks?
So the ribs and the kidney. And I really couldn't do nothing for it but rest it. So, when I felt good, I got back out there.
Did you need surgery or anything? Or was it
No, no surgery, just resting.
You break down the interception.
They've been doing it all game. I just picked up on it. And so when it came to me, I had to get it. I told my team that I owed them from the first half. I owed them that. So, I did it. I got it done.
So it feels like you had to brush any rust off in the actual game mode.
Yeah, that's what the whole first half I was trying to, get the rust off. And, I did. After when the second half came, I just got more into it. That's when all the players, got to happen. So, I feel good to be back.
Marshawn, you've been so durable. How hard has this season been not being able to play?
It's been hard, but, this will come with it. I just know the NFL is a rough game anyway, so I know it's going to come with it. And it is what it is. I just got to get over it, every time I have a situation like this. Yeah.
What did it take you to know that you were ready? Because obviously you've been practicing for a little bit. Was it just kind of getting used to contact and making sure it was safe and everything?
Yeah, contact, just all the movement and motions I got to do at corner. I just knew, when I was ready. It wasn't like, they could tell me, oh, you ready to go back out there. I had to know for myself, and I felt like I was good this week. So.
And Alante's talked about how you helped him. Just what have you been, doing to help those guys out?
Anybody that need help, we all in it together. So, if they need help with anything, I'm open to them. If this come, just showing them how to read routes, and just from my play, they look at a lot of stuff from when I'm playing. He come to me like, bro, I got this from you. So that's big. And I'm open to helping him, Debo, anybody that need help with. That's my little brother.
I got a real question for you.
What's up?
Pick the series before. Is that a hot 20 for you? Or?
1,000.
Oh, okay.
1,000. It's cool.
And then you came back.
That's cool.
With the pick to that day equals out.
It equal out, but I still owe down. It's all good.
Marshawn, the Saints are pretty straight, can't control what other teams are doing. What does this do for you guys moving forward?
We doing what we got to do. But we know what type of team we is, and, once we get in our rhythm and do what we got to do, everybody know what type of team we is. So I just give it the confidence to move forward. That's it. We ain't really worried about nobody else.
How difficult was it for you to balance wanting to be back out there, but knowing truthfully whether you were ready?
It was hard. It was hard because I've been back to practice for like 2 weeks, and I just didn't feel it. You know what I'm saying? So, I was mad about that. Cam been on me, saying he need me and everything. So, it was just, I got to get out there, Really, it was just like a leap of faith with this one. Like, I still felt it a little bit, but, I had to be out there with my team. That's it.
Have you ever dealt with an injury like that?
Ribs? Nah, this is my first time dealing with something like this.
What was it like for you watching? We've seen you play with like a broken thumb, and when you're out there, you're out there.
Right.
What was it kind of like? Was it tough? Like, was it frustrating?
Yeah, definitely frustrating. Just wanted to be out there and make a playoff run and all that type of stuff. Everybody been talking to me, asking me how I'm doing, and it was just kind of hard. I had to stay up though. I didn't get depressed or nothing like that. I just had to stay up and keep fighting through it. That's it.
Was that Cleveland game when you won it? Kind of going on a little
Cleveland, it's a game before that. I just been wanting to come back, but I just ain't. I wasn't ready.
Has Cam annoyed you yet about his record?
Oh, nah. We all happy for him. We gonna turn up with him, always. Yeah, tomorrow. We gonna do it. So, all right, y'all.
Hey, we're coming Wednesday, man.
Not to be a punching bag. Anyways, hello.
You kind of did something big today.
Yeah, we got to win against a team that hasn't lost a lot. Granted, it was against Gardner Minshew and not Jalen Hurts, but, you have to play whoever you play. I think that our D-line was up to the challenge Carl Granderson had, like 2 sacks. You know, Caden had a sack, fell off one. I got the third one. Appreciate him. I think that our defense showed up and showed out today. There was a crucial 3rd and 1 that we needed, got that done. There was a crucial 4th and 1 that we needed, got that done. I think our unheralded heroes would be, of course, the nose tackle Shy Tuttle on that 4th and 1, big stop against a Pro Bowl calibered center. It takes a whole team. You talk about Marshawn showing up and getting on the field and doing what he does. You love to see it. I've been you heard him. I was pressing him for weeks. But you got to be right to play this game. You got to be mentally acute, if you will, to be a part of that DB position. And when he's healthy, he's one of the best.
We got the full breakdown of the team, but what's that football, the record, all that stuff? What's that mean?
I'm a Fu Manchurian, and I'm stepping into 2023 with the beautiful Fu Manchu intact. It won't be here long. I'm over it. I'm just overly happy and excited to give the Lord praise for waking me up this morning, giving me breath well into 2023. All of, 16 and a half hours into 2023, and we had, 3 sacks today. That's one heck of a way to start off 2023. Don't know what tomorrow's going to hold, but January 1 was a good day.
And just what kind of broke for you guys today, but the fact that it seemed like massive pressure and kind of what you guys were looking for?
It was one of those games that eventually you're going to find. You're going to find you a quarterback that wants to escape through the B gaps, and wants to, sort of, I wouldn't even say hold the rock, because he started dealing and wheeling and dealing in that second half. But just one of those things that all the games were working. They had an offensive lineman missing, and whatever that was, we were in sync. We knew going into this game it'd be our D-line versus their D-line, and their D-line had how many sacks? 6, 7. Our D-line had 5, 6. I mean, we're going tit for tat. I'm talking to Brandon Graham as we're switching out. I'm like, hey man, just know we're still coming. He's like, we're gonna get the deal done. Not with my D-line. And love that friendly banter. You talk about how stacked their D-line is. They rush 5. I dream of that.
Did I hear you say Marshawn had an acute run?
No. I don't know. Have no idea what that is. But no. What I said was you have to be mentally acute to play the DB position. You have to be sharp. You have to be 100%. If you're injured and you're thinking about what all it takes to get on the field for a DB, maybe, again, he's talked about his ribs feeling right, feeling whatever it is. For him, he had to be at the mental capacity to take on his position, be able to cut, change, and do everything he needed to do. Whereas if I break a rib, pop a rib, I'm going forward and I'm hitting somebody. He's got to be able to plant, stick, move, and react off of a wide receiver. I don't know anything about DB position, but I do know, as we're playing, I'm probably playing around 15, 16 miles per hour, and he's probably playing at 21, 22. So he's a 4.3 guy. I don't know what that means for me. I'm a 4.69 unofficial. That was when I was heavier, so I might be faster. Who knows? Been turning the edge a long time. God is good.
Pretty nice to have him back out there, though, right?
Absolutely. In fact, like I said, I've been telling him that I was like, hey man, we need you. He's like, I'm almost back, and whatever it is, and you see the type of game-changing plays he can create when he's out there.
Sack number 3, did you know in that moment?
No, because I didn't know if they gave me sack number 1, so I thought technically that was 2. I needed another one. It was that 3rd and 1. I wrapped him up, and he sort of fell, and I was like, what was that? Because he went for the pass, but sometimes they don't give it to you in that limbo. I'll take those. I wish I could have like the Michael Strahan freebie, but it is what it is.
Cameron, I think this season, feeling like that record was attainable.
Absolutely. If you look at the last 11 years of my career, after I earned the right to be on 3rd down, you go from rookie year having 1 sack, starting 15 out of the 16 games to where I'm at now. I just needed opportunity. I knew I was a pass rusher. I knew I was an edge rusher. And I told him my second year, I told Bill Johnson, I said, give me a chance, and you'll never have to worry about it. I told Sean Payton when I first got drafted, I said, all right, let's do this. I came with the mindset to be the best that I can be. I don't want to just be a pass rusher, though. I'll let you guys label me however you want to, but just know that if there's a 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd and 1, I'm going to be on the field. I'm not jetting up the field. I'm not turning at 12. I'm fighting for each and every yard. They don't run on my side for a reason.
I think after that Tampa game was probably the most frustrating you've ever seen, which is where the team was at now, where you guys are standing now a few weeks later. What does it just say about you guys, and what have you learned
let me just think about how many weeks ago that was. I think I told you at the time, everybody in the building had their hand in the losses. Everybody in the building was not okay with where we were at. We were the problem, but we were also the answer. And the answer is continue chopping away, continue following your process, continue striking how you know you had to strike, continue paying attention to the minor things, continue pushing on, because this is a football season. This is not something that just is a 1 week make or break. This is a marathon. Guys get hurt, guys get injured, guys are in or out, whatever the case may be. It's always the next man up mentality. It's always focus on what you can control. And that process has got us to this point. Now, I don't know where we are in the playoffs. I'll let you figure that out. I know we got 1 week left, and I'm pretty sure we played the Panthers. I'm a very week-to-week guy, but I'm pretty sure we played the Panthers. And that's what we're going to control. We're going to focus on. We're going to control what we can control.
And now that you guys have figured out some of those.
Yes, Trust Levels is one of the best podcasts out. We're finished. So I'm looking forward to the next season, probably next year. Yes, it is January 1st, 2023, and God has been blessed me enough to take this breath and get 3 sacks walking into 2023. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Now that you guys have kind of figured out some of those small issues, do you know what the cause was? Like some of the culprit behind some of that stuff?
Depends on that game. Each game had its own recipe for either win or loss. So I can't just say over the season this is that direct correlation. You'd say TOP, time of possession, was a huge one for us. As you can see, first half of this game, I think defense was out there 12 to 15 plays, 3 or 4 series tops. And our offense had that first drive at 10 minutes. That's huge. That type of situation, that's easy to see why we were able to take advantage of our second and longs, our third and longs, whatever it was. It was favorable for us as a team. And then, of course, games that we lost, you could see that there was turnovers that we didn't match whatever it was. It was 2 or 3 turnovers versus our 0 or 1. You can't lose that turnover battle. Again, in every game, there's going to be a recipe for why we won or why we lost or whatever it is. All we can do is continue striving for a perfect game. And this game was by no means perfect, but we did get the job done. So we're trying to learn from our mistakes, whatever we made on the field. We'll look towards this last game, Carolina, and try and get this win.
And just getting the players back up, how does that help the defense just altogether?
We didn't cover this already. Getting a player like Marshawn is game-changing. I think that, what Marshawn's able to do on the field, there's a reason why everybody was pushing him to, hey, come back. Because, again, when he's healthy, I think I said this already, when he's healthy, he's one of the best, probably verbatim.
Yeah, how much longer can you play this level?
I don't know. Tom Brady's like 75, right? So half that. I'll take 37 and a half.
Congrats again on the sack record. Do you remember your first as much as your record breaker?
I for sure remember my first. It was against Cam Newton, week 16 in 2012. Not to be confused that I played in 2011 season. I just didn't make one till 2012 because I had like some late hits that happened, whatever it was. I had a couple sacks taken away from me. It went from I'm a good year to okay, we've got some work to do. And then I was able to earn my ability to get on third down. Second year, I think there was a pivotal game probably against Philadelphia in itself with Michael Vick that I had my first 3-sack game. And then it gets a little blurry. There was maybe some Josh Freemans in there, it was like a myriad of Tampa Bay quarterbacks. No doubt. Lots of Matt Ryan. He's been good to me. Happy New Year's, Matt Ryan, if you see it. There's a lot of Cam Newton. Appreciate you, big dog. Best draft class, 2011. There was some Jameis Winston. Love it, because we talked about it, and he didn't realize I had sacked it that many times. I sent him a reel while we were on the plane his first year here. But honestly, I think I've also had just as many great mentors I keep saying the best mentor is a mentor that he doesn't know he's a mentor from. I'm learning, I'm taking things from him. Guys, when I first got to lead, John Vilma and the way he broke down film, rest in peace, the defensive end, Will Smith, and his tenacity, his mindset of, being more than just a pass rusher defensive end. He could set the edge. He could, be a 4-eye. He could be whatever you need him to be. And as much as he loved the pass rush, he knew the importance of playing the run. There was guys like Big Baby, Cedric Ellis, to start me off and just try and accumulate knowledge, try and steal pass rush moves from. Looking around the league, seeing guys like Calais Campbell, the way he took to games and wanting to know how to play the run just as well and the pass just as well. It was becoming a leader and being an example for all my young guys, from Sheldon Rankins to David Onyemata, probably the last high draft pick D tackles we've had too. Guys like Trey Henderson, you'd even say one of the most explosive defensive ends I'd seen to date, in Junior Gillette. And he went his way and learned, some pass rush from guys like Trey. Again, the double swipe. You had Alex Okafor, Turk McBride, Daryl Taps. I mean, there's been so many defensive ends I've had the pleasure of being around, so many defensive linemen I've been honored to play with. As much as they learned from me, I stole their moves too. If I saw something, I would try to emulate, copy it, and take it and make it mine. And of course, I've always had, my chop rip, whatever it is, chop club, arm over, and been pushed each and every year. I've always had a phenomenal D-line in terms of mindset of everybody wanted to win each and every snap and pushes each other, especially Marcus Davenport, who, had 9.5 sacks last year, this year, whatever it may be, health reasons, there's playing time, whatever you want to call it, he still comes to practice and he pushes me to be better than what I am. So it's always going to be a shout out to defense and even being able to, take from him some different aspects of the game because he has a hell of a speed to power. It's probably unrivaled. I've seen him flat back a lot of offensive linemen over the years.
You know where you're going to pick the game ball?
Probably with the jersey. I think I stowed away the jersey in the bag. I wrote a little message on it, and I'll probably send it to my mom. I'd probably send it to my wife, but she doesn't care. Not to say she doesn't care. It's just it's going to hit a little bit more with moms.
The ball and the jersey right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna say I'm like shadow box it for her and send it her way, so she has to take it. I'm not gonna really give her a choice. I'm like, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Happy belated birthday, and give it to her. So she's a December baby, so they always get gypped in their birthday situations, anyways.
I think you today joined Reggie White and John Randall as the only players ever to have at least 7.5 sacks in 11 straight seasons.
Yeah, good old John Randall. That's my dog. How many times I talked to him, Chris Dolman, about pass rush when I first got into the league. Rest in peace, Chris Dolman. You know what I'm saying? They're like those extended family members. I was born in Minnesota for the first 4 years of my life. Went to Arizona. I was really, I really consider myself an Arizona kid because, all my first hugs, kisses, crushes, driving, all that other stuff was Arizona. So I'm an Arizona boy, 602 through and through. CHS, Chandler's finest. But you talk about John Randall, that's one of those stories you're never not going to admire. One of those undersized underdog stories. He had to put weights around his waist to quote unquote make weight. He had, the mindset, tenacity to be a whole another monster, and he proved it each and every time he took the field. To be a part of that's special in itself. And yeah, I'd say, the last 11 years, if you say I've had a down year, my down year is still pretty decent.
As a team, it's always hard to win this last fight. You guys have won 3 straight. No matter what the outcome is, no matter who else is playing, whatever the other result, you can't control that. But what does this do for the Saints going forward?
I have no idea. Again, I'm going to control what I can control. And I know we got Carolina coming up. We're going to, take this 24 hours, good 24-hour rule in effect. Go back home, enjoy some apple cider, sparkling apple cider with the kids and treat it like it's Happy New Year's that it is. It's been a blessing to, go home with a win on Christmas and New Year's. We're walking into 2023 with the win, and we'll try and get the next one this upcoming week. Appreciate y'all. I'm leaving.
My wife has a January birthday candle.
Play action pass, first play of the day. Dalton lets it rip, and Hill will look to run for it. Taysom Hill has a first down, stays on his feet, first and goal. Kamara, just Prentice back there with him. Hill straight ahead one more time, and he's in for the Saints touchdown. What an impressive opening drive for New Orleans.
This game a little bit high, and he's got to be careful middle of the field.
Start with a play action pass, steps up in the pocket and gets sacked. Caden Ellis. It's been one of the best linebackers in the... It is is good with plenty of distance. Minshew gets sacked from behind. It's Carl Granderson. Retreating and going downfield for the first time. He's got Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed, 1st and goal. Getting a step on a couple years in New Orleans. It's Minshew. Puts his foot in the ground and goes down. Cameron Jordan. Gardner Minshew steps up and gets sacked. No time to throw here. Dalton has another wide open man. It's Johnson again. Juwan Johnson. Maybe the best quarterback sneaking team in NFL history. Minshew tries it, and it's going to be close. Have the Saints done what nobody's done? 2nd down and 8. Quick throw is picked off. Marshawn Lattimore read it, and a pick 6 in his first game back. 8th catch, over 100 yards for Smith now. Back-to-back weeks. The fake, the pressure, the fumble, the sack.